Namaskar everyone. All of you joining the channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and you can follow the latest updates of what's happening in Bharat. Very interesting aspect about Prime Minister Modi is that he is a decision maker whose decisions are secret. What do I mean by that? That in the 10 years we have seen Prime Minister Modi, one thing has emerged very clearly. One, he takes bold, big decisions. Number two, there is immense secrecy behind these bold, big decisions. Three, it may appear that he is taking this decision spontaneously, but in his own words, it's explained multiple times that there is a long preparation. Only thing is because of that secrecy, it does not leak out. So people feel it's a spontaneous, impulsive decision. That is not how he operates. This secrecy is very important because when you are making big decisions, there are enough vested interests who, if they have prior information, can use it for their financial benefit or can use it to derail the government's decision. And the secrecy is also maintained because there is no need for media to know what the government is doing before it does it. Underline this word, before it does it. Because under the UPA era, there were tapes where journalists were talking to ministers and some journalists were deciding who will become a cabinet minister. Cabinet posts being decided or discussed by journalists before appointment shows the importance of these journalists, and it shows why you would have a particular dynasty being perpetuated into power, because it became what is called Lutyens zone, a Lutyens network which was framing the news. Rise of Prime Minister Modi, parallelly the rise of social media destroyed this. And when Prime Minister came to power, he did not feed the same ecosystem. It was very easy for him to just absorb this Lutyens media, feed them the same tidbits, but then they would become a part of your decision making. What he did was rather radical in the sense that before him, journalists used to go in the Prime Minister's plane to exotic as well as important foreign locations. Wherever the Prime Minister would go, London, Washington, or some remote place which could be very exotic, they would go with him, enjoy on government taxpayers' money, a flight, and all the accompaniments which would happen with it. He stopped it. He said private media should go on its own expense. Why should the taxpayer, you or me, bear it? So that was his framework. That's the framework he implemented. Now we are about to enter into election 2024, a very decisive election. Except Jawaharlal Nehru, and there was no other political party that time. Nobody has come back consecutively into power for 3 times. All opinion polls are showing that Prime Minister is coming back to power for the third time. And also, he has himself said multiple times again that third term will be a term of huge, big decisions. But are huge, big decisions happening before it? That is the question, because suddenly a news came that there is an evening, late night cabinet meeting, and 10:15 p.m. there would be a cabinet briefing. Now that obviously set the cat among pigeons. Everybody started speculating. You see this news, 10:15, something important, 10:15, stay tuned, 10:15. What is happening? What is so urgent? Or is it like Prime Minister when Notebandi happened? Do you remember that? 8 o'clock he came on TV and informed everybody that 500 and 1000 rupees denomination notes will no longer be valid currency. The timeline was given 2 months or something, and you have to exchange that and all that. You know all that stuff. Even the cabinet knew it just before it, so that information doesn't leak out. Obviously, 5, 7, 10 people, whosoever were involved in the process, knew, because some people have to know it. But this decision was taken. And when 10:15 comes, late night, everybody started speculating. Is it going to be a ban on 500 rupees note? There are enough people who still live in fear that 500 rupees note can be banned. Recently, in November, Ravish Kumar, he did multiple tweets. I'll just give you some examples. Multiple tweets, because he says everybody else is Godi media and I'm the only voice of conscience left in this country. His videos, भारतीय रिजर्व बैंक आरबीआई के बाहर लाइन लगी, दिस वाज अबाउट 2000 रुपीज नोट, रिजर्व बैंक के बाहर वीडियो है, इट्स ऑल इन हिंदी, But loosely translated, he had two pet peeves, that why this 2000 rupees note, there are lines, and also Narayan Murthy, who said 70 hours are important to work a week. Now, you could agree to it, disagree to it, but the frustration level of certain people like Ravish Kumar is of the level that anytime they don't like anything, they combine it with what the Prime Minister is doing. Mr. Narayan Murthy is a top industrialist of this country. You could like, oh sorry, a top corporate of this country. You could like him, you could not like him, you could agree with his viewpoint of work 70 hours, or you could believe certain journalists work only 2 hours. So you could decide all that. That's your choice to make. But how is that correlating to 2000 rupees or the government's decision? Basically, whatever you don't like, club it with Prime Minister. But it's okay. That we have seen that for 10 years now. So it immediately started, is 500 rupees about to be banned? I will come to that. The second thing people said, is a big move being made on POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, because it is a very strategic moment to act on Pakistan. You know, Imran Khan is in jail. You know, the military's attempted fixed election completely flopped. You know, independents won the maximum number of seats in the Pakistani parliament. You know that it's a very unstable government. You know, the streets are in riot. It's like Bangladesh, where a party swept, Awami League swept the election, but the military did not honor the people's mandate, imposed its own rule, led to a civil war, led to India entering into save East Pakistan, led to the creation of Bangladesh. The situation is almost the same. The people have voted, the army does not like what people have done, so it's suppressing the mandate. Whether the streets of Punjab in Pakistan or the streets of Sindh or Balochistan or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa turn bloody, will it be a civil war or will it be an utter collapse of Pakistan? Whatever, internally they are completely messed up, broken. So it's a good opportunity to go into POK. Would that be happening? Or would it be CA rules? Would it be Uniform Civil Code? Would it be some such big decision coming? One of my favorite ones, if it comes, is that our constitution needs to define minority. What is minority? Is 10% national population also minority, or it is co-majority? Is 15% population minority or majority? Is a state with 40% population of a particular religion and 55% of a particular religion, 40%, does it become a minority? Do we need state-wide definitions? Do we need national definitions? My simple one-line formula is, any population across India above 10%, not a minority. Co-equal majority. Minorities are tiny microscopic minorities. 1%, 2%, 3%. I'm saying 10 at the outer limit. Maybe some people say 8%, some people say 5%. That's a different thing. The government has to decide. Could that be made? So when this late night cabinet meeting happened, this speculation started. And Prime Minister is known for his secrecy. So that became very important. But just pause here. What emerged? This was on 21st February. What emerged is something very normal, banal, nothing great. What is great in the sense of shocking or big. Important for the nation, definitely. Cabinet meeting. For example, the MSP of sugarcane was increased from 315 to 340. Yes, politically important, because you know the farm protests are going on. National Livestock Mission, yes, some policies made there. Women's safety, certain outlays of monies given for women's safety, certain outlays given for flood management. One very important space sector program, obviously very important. You know, Elon Musk saying that ISRO, at what are the salaries in government sector? People in space sector in US or in any country, even in India, make multi-million-dollar salaries. Yet Elon Musk said, a pioneer in SpaceX, reusable. What, you know what all he's done? He said that ISRO is launching satellites at such a cheap rate, being a government body. It is unbelievable. It's astounding. It's a miracle. That space sector, obviously now getting FDI, easing the norms, satellite launch sector, etc., important. But not something which is civilizationally important, or something which is long pending, or something which is a step like 370, where every child of this nation, every patriotic person of this nation overwhelmingly supported it. Overwhelmingly supported it. Some people with vested interests may not have liked it. So nothing like that. But does that mean it was not on proposal? I believe before the election, of course, it was on proposal. I believe before the election, what would be the right day? Maybe the Prime Minister is also evaluating, because I do believe before the election, one big move will come. For example, Assam, in the context of Assam, today made an extremely important decision. It abolished, it overturned, it made it redundant the Muslim Marriage Act of 1935, in which child marriages were happening. Now, 18 and 21, the minimum ages for marriage, which are applicable across the country, have to be applicable to the state of Assam. Otherwise, globally, child marriages looked as an evil. And you were permitting that because there were no regulations. There were these registrars who were only registering marriages. Sometimes you didn't even need to register them as per that act of 1935. Now that's gone. So in Assam context, it's a step to Uniform Civil Code, with Himanta Biswa Sarma tweeted also. 23 to 2024, Assam Muslim Marriage Divorce Registration Act. It's an age-old act. The move marks a significant step towards prohibiting child marriages. So that's a big step. But what is going to happen nationally? What a lot of people say is 500 rupees note can also be phased out. India, there was so much. Ravish Kumar, as I showed you, crying one after the other on another tweet, another tweet. United Kingdom phased out pound. Obviously, pound is not only owned by people in England, because it's not euro, it's not a part of euro currency now. So many people from Europe come to United Kingdom so frequently. It's like flying from Delhi to Patna. They go there so frequently, yet they phased it out. No global outcry, no European outcry. Very smoothly it happened. In India, everything becomes an outcry because some vested interests don't like it. So is 500 rupees note being about to phased out? I don't know, because the secrecy is there. But that's one possibility a lot of people say, because the Prime Minister was very clear that I want to restrict currency as much as possible, and directionally he never changes. Some things will come out well, some things will not come out well. Notebandi may not be a very good move, may be a great move. It is all matter of subjective discussions. But what is objective is that once he felt the need to do away with 1000 rupees note, 2000 rupees note came in, but it was an interim measure. Now 2000 is also out. Highest note is 500 rupees. See the difference. It took a 5-year, 6-year cycle. But now the highest note is 500 rupees, because change has to happen gradually, yet in sometimes decisively. So will 500 also go and 200 remain the biggest note? That's there. But is it going to be POK? I don't think so. Pakistan occupied Kashmir can be a reason. And the only reason I say not, even though I want it to be a case with the government, it's a decisive move, because that will have to happen after the third election. Because if you do something there right now, timing wise, then elections in India will need to be delayed. You cannot have election and war at the same time. You just cannot have it. And you do not know how the response will be once something like that happens. So I don't think so the government will do it after 24. And they must have multiple strategies in consultation with our armed forces of what to be done, because POK is an illegally occupied part of Bharat, and all illegal occupations have to be removed, and Bharat has to get its land back. I'm very clear on that. So something like that is possible. Is the Uniform Civil Code coming in parts? It's coming. Uttarakhand, it's come. Assam, partly it's come. Uttar Pradesh, they are saying, will be the next one where partly it will come. Banning of triple talaq is a step towards this. So many small steps which lead to a whole of Uniform Civil Code. That can happen. Rules on CA and RC, that can happen. Or something completely out of the box can happen. But one thing I feel, my gut says, because nobody can know, but my gut says that before the elections are announced, one more huge big step is going to come. What is your view? What is the one step you want should come before the elections, which, if you win the election, and which I do believe they will win the election, will also be a public stamp to a step which may generate a lot of controversy or resistance by certain vested interests. So the Prime Minister never stops because of that. I don't think so he will stop because of that. I do believe that late night meeting, which obviously resulted in a normal briefing, no major decisions in that sense, but one day, one meeting, one such late night briefing could come in the next 20 days with very decisive, game altering, game changing, changing the future of Bharat, or rectifying a past mistake which was allowed, deliberately allowed to happen in Bharat. That sort of a decision will come. You do type in your comments of what sort of a decision you want before it. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.